The Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN, is ready to disburse the first tranche of the 20 billion naira intervention fund for the creative industry. The initiative, referred to as the Creative Industry Financing, is aimed at providing funding support at low interest rate to eligible businesses within the entertainment and information technology sector through commercial banks. As one of the disbursing institutions, Access Bank is engaging prospective beneficiaries in the targeted areas on its readiness to support them in accessing the fund and offer advice on investments.
The meeting is between the management of Access Bank, movie producers and distributors. They belong to one of the 6 subsectors that benefit from the CBN's Creative Industry Financing Initiative.
Borrow from the bank and you have defaulted.
The essence is to enlighten prospective beneficiaries on what the loan entails and how they can access it through the financial lender.
I just want to assure you guys that we are poised to support you, and we'll do all that we need to do to make sure that those of you who require it will get the fund.
This fund is coming at a single-digit interest rate for a longer period of time. So we're saying with that, we'll be able to, if the money gets into the hand of a movie producer today, it means that we're funding the entire value chain.
Under the initiative, the loan accessible to applicants vary with each segment ranging from 3 million to 500 million naira. However, the crux of the engagement here is the requirement to access the fund. Concerns emerge over the interest rate, security arrangement, and equity contribution.
They must get all these conditionalities right. All right, 30% equity is a bit on the high side. What is wrong with 10%? You know, it's supposed to be something to support the industry. You don't make it difficult for the industry people.
That's part of the reason why we had this forum, because we don't just want to throw things at the players in this industry. And yeah, like you heard them say, they have a problem with the 30% equity financing. But we will continue to educate them on what they need to do. And it's a feedback that they've given us, and we'll work with CBN on it.
Despite these concerns, industry players are upbeat about its impact.
Well, naturally, you know what it is. When you put in a lot of money into things like this, naturally, we're going to create job opportunities for people. We're going to train people, we're going to employ people, and of course, it's going to broaden the horizon of Nollywood.
This interaction will also be extended to players in the fashion industry, information technology, music, as well as software engineering. The Creative Industry Intervention Fund is to the tune of 200 billion naira, and it is seen as a step forward for the development of the creative industry in Nigeria.
VDT Communications, a leading broadband communication service provider in Nigeria, has unveiled its advanced data service brand into the Nigerian market, starting with Lagos. The unveiling, which took place in Lagos, also witnessed the launch of several devices and data plans, all aimed at helping people innovate and move with digital revolution at work, home, or for play.
Perfect is what VDT is offering.
Poised to lead the pack in the digital revolution space and Internet of Things, VDT LTE 4G is today launching to the general public high-speed broadband internet service on the VDT platform.
A service which infrastructure has been designed and built from the ground up on the long-term evolution, what many people know as LTE, without the legacy encumbrances of the past.
VDT says it wants to enable you live your life without the limitations of time and space.
We are also talking about Internet of Things. So we understand that the future will be heavily powered by access to data. And for us, it is as we move towards that future, we want to galvanize as many consumer segments as possible to move into that future with us with a single-minded proposition that as they move with us into that future, the quality of their lives indeed will be enhanced as they interact with our products.
And now to the moment of unveiling.
Welcome to VDT LTE Advanced. Live the life. This is the future of internet service in Nigeria.
There's something for everyone, and customers should expect high-speed internet services, affordable devices, data plan, and world-class customer service.
VDT is going to do very, very well because they've been very successful in the corporate side, and now they're taking the knowledge of that standardization, that best practice to the retail world. And now partnering with organizations like Bitflux can even make them more successful. So you can be sure that a new giant has come to the market. Watch out for VDT.
Bringing this to the masses is something that is going to be different. We've always been outstanding, we've always been different, and our service is no different. So definitely keying into the VDT service actually invites people to experience the life.
Are you also concerned about reach? VDT says it has a footprint in over 50 cities across Nigeria and over 80% penetration in Lagos.
Well, time now for business news on the news at 10 with delightful Melinda Kilami.
You First. First Bank.
Many thanks, Gimba. Welcome to Business News. The Nigerian oil and gas industry is still a major investment destination in Africa. The British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Mrs. Catriona Lang, mentioned this at an oil and gas strategic conference and international exhibition in Abuja, but adds that the country needs to brace up to take advantage of the investments that abound in this sector. While the NNPC Group Managing Director, Dr. Mikanti Baru, who delivered the keynote address, says over 24.8% of foreign direct investments come to the African continent through the country.
It's a really competitive market out there, and Nigeria, frankly, isn't doing as well as it needs to. It has made some progress on doing business, but if it doesn't make much better progress, investment will go elsewhere. And I think there are 4 issues in particular for the oil and gas sector that need to be tackled. One is standardizing regulatory reforms, so there's predictability. Secondly, of course, ensuring sanctity of contracts. Thirdly, the certainties around the tax regime. And fourthly, a dependable, independent judiciary. If you can make progress on those 4 things, Nigeria will take its place quite rightly as an attractive environment to investors.
Promoting investment requires stability in regulatory framework, clarity in terms of fiscal direction and reforms, access to capital, and more importantly, effective and efficient deployment of both capital and human resources. NNPC is collaborating closely with the Department of Petroleum Resources to see that the right fiscal systems are in place. I mean, the players, particularly the local ones, must look beyond self-promotion and begin to explore avenues for consolidation. Consolidation will help create a better and healthier balance sheet, increase negotiating power, and give room for cross-learning.
The European Council has officially nominated the Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Ms. Christine Lagarde, to become the next President of the European Central Bank. The IMF chief nomination now passes to a vote at the broader European Parliament, as well as between the Eurozone finance ministers. Ms. Lagarde, who led the IMF since 2011, would succeed ECB President Mr. Mario Draghi, that's if she's confirmed. Trading sentiment at the local equities market ends downbeat for a second day in the new month as investors extend profit-taking in bellwether stocks. Layo Adegoke has details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. The month of July seems to be towing the part of the previous month as trading sentiments end the second day of the new month down by an additional 0.74%. Similarly, total value of 169 listed equities dropped further by 94 billion naira below the 13 trillion naira level after intense profit-taking hit key components across 4 sub-indexes of the NSE, in particular the consumer goods counter. Traders and analysts say the market is still awaiting some stimulus such as clear economic direction from the government, as well as positive corporate earnings results to revive and sustain the market in the short to medium term. Meanwhile, Cement Company of Northern Nigeria led a pack of 13 gainers, up by 8.11%. UAC Properties and Chams top a list of 23 losers, down by 9.68% apiece, while the shares of GT Bank, UBA, Lafarge are lead contributors to a total of 200.68 million equities traded today. And that's the stock market report. I'm Layo Adegoke.
Well, it's different strokes, as is mostly a positive close for major global equities markets on hope of a favorable outcome as two of the world's leading economies, that's the United States and China, resume trade talks. Here are some of the closing numbers. That's business news. It's back to you, Gimba.
You first. First Bank.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Super Eagles of Nigeria set up a clash with title holders Cameroon in the round of 16 of the Africa Cup of Nations on Saturday, July the 16th in Alexandria. Plus, a wrap up the international news from our London studios in Around the World in 5. Stay with us.